They're doing a whole new kind of architecture and animation all wrapped into one.
Yeah, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And it's very frustrating when you get a project that has an object that doesn't work, and you have to go back and say, it's not gonna fly.
If somebody wants to follow in your footsteps and take up being a pop-up book artist, this new profession, what recommendations would you have for them? Is this something they can learn in art school?
Very few, actually. There's very few schools that teach anything like this.
Right.
Partially because it's such a limited thing here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a kind of a craft where it takes a long time to develop the finesse for it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of trial and error, and it's something. So I would say, have fun with it, play with it. Certainly. But if you're going to make a career out of it, you have to commit to make a career out of it. It takes a long time to get to that point where you can efficiently do things really cool, and in a way that is printable.
Yes.
Sometimes a lot of handmade pop-ups are, and I've seen some that are so elaborate and so delicate and so fine that they're absolute marvels to behold. But you could never print them in a mass way, because there's no way the die cutting machine can do that. There's no way that you could produce 50,000 copies of that, because you tear up half of them and just gluing it together. It's so delicate that the artist can make his copies, but you can't mass produce them. So there's finessing, and there's limitations to what you can and can't do. Now, as far as taking up the way I did it, was I started buying pop-up books, studying the pop-up books. I never recommend people to tear up a pop-up book, but if you're serious about doing this, that's the best way to learn. You have to do an autopsy of the pop-up book in order to figure it out. So you learn these little techniques, and it takes a long time to figure out, now, why did that happen? Exactly what angle was that made it do that? Because you can be a couple of degrees off in the way you fold the paper, and it won't work. It won't work. Or it'll fall out, or when you close the book, half of it's sticking outside the book. You have to make a lot of adjustments and a lot of trial and error.
When you go to schools, Bruce, what kind of reactions do you get from the students with the pop-up books?
It's ecstatic. It's like being a magician coming to the school. And when I open a book to these kids, you can just see their eyes open wide, and there's oohs and ahs, and kids love it. But the teachers and the parents in the back they're just wide-eyed. It's fabulous doing school visits. You bring this to the kids and you show them how it's done, and it really teaches them about how much work is really behind these. You just don't spring into life. There's a lot of work in these, but it's a process that's understandable. Once somebody breaks it down and tells you how all this is done, you start to appreciate all the work that's gone into these things. And yet, it inspires these kids to do their own. I don't know how many times I've done a school presentation, and the next week, the teacher's sending me pop-ups the kids have made. It's great. It's just great. The kids just love this. And I love showing it to kids. I'm doing 6 schools here in Houston in a couple of weeks, and can't wait to do that.